I'll see you in
Smile.
a little while. Goodbye for today.
All right.
I'll see you.
Hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies. In today's episode, we are doing a preview of round 5 for the AFL. Johnny, big round. Let's get into it.
Big game start off. Well, obviously there's a game happening right now, so let's get through this so we can actually watch the game.
Whose fault was that? It's yours.
Doggies versus the Bombers to start off, Joshy. Your boys.
Yeah, my boys playing, which is going to be exciting. I'm going to bring up the team, the lineups for everyone. And please bear with us. It's not going to look as fancy-pantsy as last time because the AFL do not release the lineups until 6 p.m. and we don't have that much time to
It's
play.
annoying. It's annoying.
It's frustrating, but it is what it is, John. You can't do much about it. So I'm just going to put it up for all the viewers who are watching. Cut that in. There we go. Or I might just take that off. Johnny, do you want to read through the Bulldogs?
So Doggies full back line, Liam Jones, Richards, Bailey Williams. Centre back line, you got Cummins, Johannes, and I always get his wrong. It's Dure, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Dure. Centre line, Treloar, Gallagher, Baker. Centre forward line, Norton, West, and Vandermeer. Full forward line, Jamar Ugelhagen playing game 50. Waitman and Darcy, following English, Bontempelli and Libba. And you've got on the bench Bramble, Dale, McRae, O'Donnell and Sanders.
All right, for the Dons, you've got Inns, Darham and Davey Jr. Out goes Setterfield and Perkins. Backline, you've got Heppel, Mackay, whatever you call him.
Mackay.
Hind. It's pretty much Mackay, but we'll call him Mackay. You call him Mackay all the time for Carlton, so clearly they're not the same.
Two different people.
Then you got Nick I know. Same brothers.
Same egg, but...
Yeah. Then you got Redmond, McGrath in the centre line. You got Dersmar, Parrish, Kelly, half forward Durham, Langford, Davey Jr. Full forward line. You've got Gresham, Stringer and Hobbs following Goldstein, Caldwell, Merritt. Gee, I'm getting pissed off seeing Goldie starting and Draper not. They can't be doing that. On the bench, you got Draper, Cox, Lavade, Jones and Jai Menzie. That... I was saying to you.
How are you feeling, Josh, about your Bombers? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a struggle for us. Well, the last 3 games against the Doggies, we don't have a good form. I think we lost by over close to 50 points last time we played them. I think it was 45 to be exact. The Dogs are a team we never really line up well against. I will bet and tip on Essendon every day of the week. I actually wouldn't bet on Essendon, but I'll tip them because I just like doing that. I don't think we're going to win though. I think we're going to lose by 2-3 goals. I just think I hope that we can maybe turn it around after our really poor performance against Port. If we can play 4 quarters, we played a quarter against Port Adelaide, and then they just completely overran us. And they have the potential to do the same here. With the likes of Bont, Libba, McRae off the bench, which is just ridiculous. I mean, even Dale off the bench. It's one of those things.
Essendon are really disappointing, and you've been copying it in the media. Same old Essendon. You're not going through a rebuild or whatnot. So, sort of, where does Essendon sit? I really liked, their first game against Hawthorn. They were flying the flag. They went head to head with Sydney in a high score, shootout. Were really good against St Kilda. I think everyone just bought into this edge too much. Port Adelaide really exposed them, and the big problem for Essendon is, I've been saying it, is their ability to defend when a side gets the ball on the half back line. It's just not there. And Treloar, Bont and Libba had 35 plus touches last week, and they're doing that week in, week out. I just look at this midfield: Parrish, Merritt and Caldwell. All Libba has to do, Libba can get 35 touches and nullify Merritt.
Yeah.
Bontempelli and Treloar don't have to respect Parrish and Caldwell at all. I don't reckon they when they're offensive are going to do damage. So the Bulldogs almost don't even have to do anything because they're not going to hurt them. While you really have to worry about what the others can do. Tingley English is an absolute star. I can understand why they're putting Goldstein on him because of, I guess, through the experience. Draper's going to get his, time on him as well. I'd really be trying to, tire him out because he's good along the ground. Look, the Dogs aren't fantastic. Their forward line is very suspect. Ugelhagen's a good, congratulations on 50. Orton's great over in the air, but he doesn't really punish sides.
And he's been inconsistent. Waitman will be a big key for them. The good thing is Waitman's pretty small, so we can, we'll have a matchup for him. But Waitman can destroy sides. I'm not confident with this game. I'm not, as you know, on the ladder.
I think they're just gonna. I think they're just gonna smash you in the guts, and their forward line's gonna have a chance.
My issue is their midfield. I'm really getting annoyed seeing Goldstein starting off in the ruck. Draper should have that position locked in. It's not good. Draper, we need. You know what my issue with that is the fact that Draper's the sort of player you don't give him his own limelight, he'll leave every day. Like, I don't know how long he's got in his contract, but trust me when I say
Goldie's only here for this. He's only going to be playing this year, though.
But then he doesn't need to be starting. Is
it form?
On form for Draper.
Is they starting Goldstein on form?
Well, are they Draper's better, in my opinion.
I'm asking.
I don't know.
Selectors have clearly they've opted to go with Goldstein.
And they did it last week against Port, and I thought you needed the youthful energy in that ruck contest. They straight off the bat, you could just see Goldie didn't have the physicality. I just think, yeah. Anyway, I mean, they're both sides 2-2. Bulldogs
they're in very different form.
Who have you got?
I think Essendon are going to give a better dip, though. I would like to think Essendon are going to get a bit of dip. You're at Etihad, Marvel, sorry. You're back in Melbourne. Surely there's a bit of pride in this club. I do think the Dogs...
I'm worried about the Doggies.
I think the Doggies by 4 or 5 goals. I think that midfield is... I mean, your midfield is actually... It could be the worst in the comp. I'm just looking at it. It's actually a joke.
The problem for me is the 2 losses that the Doggies have had against Melbourne and Geelong. Geelong by 4 points.
They did a lot right against the Cats. I think they're going to be just too strong in the guts.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. I mean, we lost against Port and Sydney, 2 good teams too, but still.
The Sydney game, there was nothing to be ashamed about, but that after quarter time against Port Adelaide really showed, okay, you guys haven't got better.
Well, it's going to be shown. Who knows? Maybe, Johnny, this one's going to be different. Who have you got? You haven't really...
I said it twice. Dogs by 4 goals.
Oh, sorry, mate. Don't listen to stupid accusations.
Said it twice.
All right, that brings us to the next game. We've got the Giants versus the Saints.
So Giants in great form. So you got full back line, Sam Taylor, Perryman, Iden, half back line, Buckley, Aish, Whitfield. Fucking hell. Centre line, Kelly, Callahan, Ware, half forward line, Riccardi, Bedford, Daniels, Hogan, Brown, Green up in the full forward line, and then in the rucks, Briggs, Caniglio, and Tom Green. On the bench, O'Halloran, Thomas, Himmelberg, Cadman, and Petling. No changes to the Giants side.
For the Saints, you've got Windhager and Garcia coming in. Out goes Hasty and Zach Jones. New face is Garcia. His debut game for the club. Congratulations. In the back line, you've got Batty, Cordy, Wilkie. Half back line, you've got Bonner, Sinclair, Wanganeen, Malira. Centre line, Burns, Ross, Hill. Half forward, Higgins, Sharman, Owens. Full forward line, you got Kamenity, whatever his name is, I always get that wrong. King and Membry, following Marshall, Steele, Filippo. On the bench, you got Windhager, Stocker, Butler, Wilson, and Garcia. I mean, for me personally, I'm just going to cut us back in. Johnny, give me a second. I really can't see St Kilda going up to GWS. Or going up to Sydney. Taking this win.
Well, I just don't know how they're going to kick enough goals. Max King's threatening. When's he going to have a big game? Sam Taylor and Buckley have only lost 5 contests 1-on-1 all year, and that's all Buckley. You got the two best intercept markers, duo in the back line. Then you've got Aish, Iden, Perryman, Whitfield off the back line, just absolute ripper skills. Kelly, do you know what? Kelly and Caniglio and Tom Green have been awesome. I'm loving Caniglio's last 2 years. He was absolutely done. He's now become sort of a run-with player, but he finds his own footy as well. Hogan Riccardi are doing well. Toby Green is doing Toby Green things. And then you just look at that bench. St Kilda have been a bit soft for me. You know, they've really, after, you know, leading for most of the way against your mob, really disappointed to see. And they were not impressive against Richmond. Richmond only lost because they ran out of legs because you had Lynch, Bolter, Baker out. If that was, you know, the week before, the Richmond that played Sydney, Richmond would have won.
Do you think
this could get ugly?
Yeah, I mean, their loss against the Bombers, they had it stolen. That was probably a win that they should have
I
won.
feel like
They
it's
should have
hurt their
kept
confidence.
I think a little bit too. Their first loss was against Geelong. Now, Geelong have come out and clearly indicated they're going to be back up there.
That was a good game. That was a good game.
The problem is they're coming up against the Giants. Giants haven't had too many, when you look at who they've really faced, Suns, West Coast, North, Collingwood.
Well, they came
They're
up
all
against
shit
teams. Collingwood's not a shit side.
Okay. Okay.
You play the grand finals, the premiership favourites in 1-1, and they flogged them.
I don't know about you, but St Kilda bet Collingwood.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is,
we were saying how good St Kilda was after that game.
yeah, but then to lose to Essendon, I think it shot their confidence.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I said.
GWS first on the ladder, humming along. This should be, St Kilda 2-2.
It's very important. This is very important for St Kilda.
I don't think they're going to get the win, but I think this is a heart and soul sort of game. If they can, I think with Ross the boss, you know what though? They match up bloody well head to head. They've won the last 2 of 3.
Have they won?
They didn't win the last game against the Giants last year, but previous to that, they versed them twice last year. They bet them once. That was earlier on in the year.
Different. It's Giants,
and they've actually bet them up in Sydney when they versed them, St Kilda
2 years ago.
No, last year.
But that was a different Giant side. That was a completely different Giant side. That was the side that were 4th last. This Giant side now is the best in the comp. I just don't see the weapons.
I 100% agree.
I don't
think
see
any of the
weapons.
St Kilda players are going to take anything and go, guys, these guys are absolute weapons. Hey, I remember last year when we went up there and bet them.
They got to make this game really, really, really dirty because if with the likes of, I'm just looking Whitfield, Ash, Perryman, Iden off the back line, just how they can just quarterback it. Josh Kelly he's just like a cruiser. He just cruises through.
Hogan's had 40 score involvements through his year. He's kicked 16
He's in career best form. There's just too many weapons, and even if St Kilda try to make it a scrap, Giants can play that game. I reckon Giants by 40 points.
So I think Giants win. I don't think it's a smoking though. I think it's about 4 goals.
Okay. That's respectable for St Kilda
horrible water.
That's respectful. That's respectful if they do that.
I think St Kilda. I don't think Ross is going to allow. They haven't had any blowouts. So
no, and that's the one good thing. Ross Lions sides they don't allow to get smashed. But
they'll either keep it low scoring.
They'll keep it low scoring. But I think the Giants are comfortable. They've got that grit. So
the hard thing is the Giants have best of both worlds. They've got the poise that like a Sydney squad do where they can pick apart teams with their skills.
Correct.
Or you want to go and play hard like the Demons. I got that fight too.
They proved it in the prelim against Collingwood. You look at
exciting team.
So if you look at the Giants 3 finals last year, they took care of St Kilda with relative ease when the game was on to be won. It was hard fought. They just smoked Port Adelaide with pure skill, and then in the prelim, 90,000, 85,000 would have been Collingwood. That was a scrappy and final contest. It was almost the pressure of a grand final. It had more pressure than the grand final did, and they lost by a point. So
grand final was exceptional.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
You said had more pressure than the grand final.
The Collingwood GWS game had more physicality and pressure than the Collingwood Brisbane game. That was bruise-free footy.
Okay.
That was just the Brisbane Collingwood grand final was an exhibition of how good this game could be from an offensive game, but it was not the slog grand finals that we're used to. That's what I said.
Yeah, very true. Well, it was a 71-70 game.
Yeah, correct. It was a slog.
It was an absolute slog. All right, that brings us to your Blue Boys.
No, going. There's a little bit. Is there a little bit of nerves?
Why are you nervous about a game that should be a walk in the park for you
It
guys?
should be a walk in the park, but Adelaide surely they've got to win something. But good's in. So we got Sam Walsh coming in. That's absolutely awesome to see. Fogarty's out for a suspension. Sam Walsh playing. I didn't realise it was his 100th game. What an absolute jet. Blake Acres in his third club, 150th. He's a fan favourite of ours, Blake Acres, with his 2 goals last year in key moments in the finals. Carlton side's finally starting to look like, what it should. So full backline, Jacob Wiedering, Nick Newman and Kemp. Centre half backline, McGovern, Williams, Saab. Centre line, Cripps, Oliver Hollands and Blake Acres. Half forward line, you've got Mackay, Kennedy and Elijah Hollands. Full forward line, Kerno, Fantasia, Owies. In the rucks, DeConning, Chero, Hewitt, and then on the bench, Boyd, Carroll, Cottrell, Walsh, and Durden. I like that. I'm very.
Wow.
That's a deep side.
Well,
it's a deep side.
We can go into it. Just calm down. We'll go into Adelaide. Adelaide ins. You've got Hamill and Gollant. Out goes Parnell and Burgess. Omitted was Burgess. Injured is Parnell. In the back line, you've got Nate Curvis, Butts, Smith. Half back line, you've got Hamill, Keane. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. Michaelani. That did not sound like how it sounds.
Michaelani.
Yeah. Centre line, you've got Hinge, Dawson, Jones. You know what? Reading this back line, nothing stands out to me.
We've been saying that for a long. Keane was good on the weekend. Keane was their best player.
Yeah. Half forward line, Soligo, Rankin, Rochelle, full forward, McHenry, Fogarty, Walker. In the ruck, you got O'Brien, then you got Laird and Keys following. On the bench, you got Worrell, Berry, Crouch, Cook, Gollant. Gee, that is just a completely different list. Just one sec, John. I'm just going to cut us in. That's going to be a struggle. What does Adelaide even need to do?
What does Adelaide
How
need?
are they going to stop
What does Adelaide need?
Mackay and Kerno and your midfield ability? What are they going to have to do? Because last year they bet you guys, but that was at a very different point in the year. It was when you guys weren't actually good.
That was gather round.
Yeah, it was when you guys sucked. So they played a completely different Carlton side with no confidence.
Yeah.
They bet you by close to 60 points at their home. I think personally that backline's not going to do much.
So to answer your question, they need to take Carlton's clearance. So what the hallmark of Carlton was last year was contested footy and clearance footy. We've actually dropped off on this last year. We're actually losing a bit of the ball. We're winning a lot on scoring from turnovers. Adelaide need to take advantage. But just looking at Taylor Walker and Fogarty have kicked 7 goals between them this year.
Yeah.
Like 7 goals. Going into the Freo game, Kerno and Mackay were averaging that per year. They've kicked 27 between them. Or to 25. Like, this is the thing, but can Dawson, Laird and Keys take advantage of Cripps, Chera and Hewitt? Now Walsh comes back in. Walsh could solve all Carlton's problems in our clearance game. Yeah. He comes back into form. Cripps isn't being the cleanest with his hands. He's only going at 65% with effective ball use when he does get the ball in a contested situation. But he's going forward and kicking goals this year. I'm happy to take that. And we're killing sides on the turnover. Dawson, Laird, Keys and Crouch have been absolutely butchering it.
As much as they're getting the ball, that's what I was going to say. Crouch is starting
so much
bench.
of it.
He's getting 32 a game.
And he's and does what with it?
I know. I mean, there's not much. I just personally think you guys are going to. We should
be all over him. What I give Adelaide hope if they can take advantage of our clearance situation that we're not doing great at. Marvel's a pretty easy ground for a big full forward to take advantage. If they can get the ball in, you ask the question, how can they win? There's no conditions. There's no wind. If Walker can get a few easy couple of marks, kick a couple of goals, is Fogarty going to become the player he's always supposed to be?
Is Rankin going to turn it on?
Rankin.
The hard thing is your backline is so good. Like Wiedering, McGovern, Newman Sard.
Still a bit undersized though, apart from Wiedering. McGovern plays his own sort of game, so it's going to be interesting to see, because he'll be on Fogarty. Does he give Fogarty the respect? Rochelle, he was getting a bit of time in the midfield last year. He's done none of that. He's only been at 2 centre clearances.
Yeah.
For the all year, and he's playing very hero ball. Like that last quarter when Adelaide were pressing, he had the opportunity to, hit targets going forward, and he just bombed it away, tried to do the stupid thing. I think and Tom de Koning had an absolute, he went up against Jackson last week and was absolutely amazing in that last quarter. And that was a great ruck duel. I'm not going to say who won because I think it was just an awesome spectacle to watch. O'Brien wasn't horrible against Gawn. He's serviceable. I just think we're just too strong around the. We're just too strong. Our depth is too good. Cottrell, who was having a bad year, kicks a clutch goal. I'm glad to see Owies is starting. They had him as a sub on the weekend. Comes on every game. He kicks an important goal. I'm glad to see he's been good. Carroll's coming around. Boyd gives a bit of run when he goes on. I think we're going to be too good here.
I was going to say, Johnny, I feel like I'm about to hear something underneath the table. You guys are undefeated. Yeah. We get it. Adelaide are defeated. They haven't won one game. It's going to be
Carlton by 30 points.
Carlton comfortably by 30 plus. I don't see Adelaide travelling over here. They've had the opportunity to win over in Adelaide, and they can't make it happen. So I mean, they weren't bad against Melbourne, but I just don't see them getting up against you guys. Their list ain't too good, and when you've got the two best kicking forwards in the league right now against the pretty shocking looking backline.
And that's the thing. And Mackay had a bad one on the weekend. Pearce held him really well, and Pearce is an absolute gun. He's going to get let loose today. And, Kerno was well held and then kicked 3 goals in a couple of minutes. So Blues for me.
No, Blues will get up. That brings us over to, I'm just going to bring up the other one. The Suns and the Hawks. Johnny, do you want to run through the Suns?
Yes, I can. So you got Ballard, Collins, and Lukosius in the full back line. Flanders, Andrew, and Powell in the centre half back line. Miller, Closey, and Ferroni on the centre line. Walter, Berry, Ainsworth in the centre half forward line. King, Rowell, and Roses in the full forward line. Wheats, Anderson, Humphrey in the ruck. Holman, Reed, Swallow, Graham, and Olwyn on the pine.
Okay, we have an issue. I can't get the list up for anyone. Trying to get it up. All right, no, we're not doing that. I'm going to run through it on this. Do you want to just keep running through that?
Yeah, so the Hawthorn, you got Frost, Ambrose, Sicily, half back line, Impey, Hardwick, and Welder. Hardwick on the back, half back line. That's interesting.
Didn't he just play and kick 4? That's the swap that I think they did.
Centre, you got Newcomb, Nash, Amon, and then the centre half forward line, Mackenzie, McDonald, Hustwaite, full forward line, Choi, Ginnivan, McGuinness, Rucking, Meek, Warple, Moore, and then on the bench, Scrimshaw, Ward, Butler, Ramsden, and Mitchell.
This is going to be an interesting battle. I mean, the players to watch, in my opinion, Ben King, sorry, not Max. I always get them confused. Yeah. Then you got Sicily down back, who's been very, very good for Hawthorn.
Well, Sam Frost has been really good. Ben King is gonna have a hard day.
Yeah.
I mean, for what we talk about the Gold Coast Suns, they should shit this game in.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming up against a completely defeated Hawthorn, 16th on the ladder. Suns, 2 wins, 2 losses. They played the Giants.
We're going to learn a lot about how good this Gold Coast Suns side is. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
Well, now that we look at it, the teams they've beaten, Richmond and Adelaide, right?
Yeah.
And they're not playing good football.
I mean, the Adelaide at the time was a good win, but it was still at home. They were all right against GWS and still lost by 5 goals. They were absolutely flogged by the Dogs. Hawthorn have had a really, hard run at it. They've played Collingwood, Geelong,
Melbourne,
and Essendon. So I actually think this is going to be a bit closer than people think. I give the edge being, at Metricon. Miller, Anderson, and Humphrey should take advantage of this midfield.
Well, this is like you said, their time where Gold Coast do usually after a few rounds, because they've played a few up at Gold Coast at Metricon, they come back with a few wins.
So a lot of times they're 3-2, 4-1 against easy sides, and then they get found out. I just don't. I just like Gold Coast. I can't even see where they are. Did we even have? Where did we have them? Did we leave them off the ship?
Gold Coast? Were they even on?
Were they even on? Or were they on the rafters?
No, they weren't on the rafters because we had Adelaide and Richmond.
No, that's a life. Were they on starboard? They were on this. They were on the railings.
Shit, were they on the railings or? Yeah.
Or did we just
got rid of forget about them entirely?
Put the Tasmanian Devils.
No, they were definitely a
look,
starboard.
This is probably the most uninteresting of the games to watch for me, and I think Gold Coast by 3 goals.
You know what annoyed me? Saturday.
Yes.
They've taken gather round.
Yes.
There's no Melbourne games aside from your Carlton game at 4:35. We work in real estate. It's not like I could go and watch a game anyway. This is bullshit. AFL, what the fuck? You put both the Saturday night games in fucking interstate.
Victorian privilege.
What is this bullshit?
Victorian privilege.
What does that mean? Are you saying I'm privileged or are you saying...
Victorian privilege, they say typical white privilege.
This is bullshit.
Typical Victorian privilege.
Nah, I'm getting sick of it. It's like they kind of just want the games... I don't know. That's Carlton's 4:35.
It's just a fixture. Just move on.
Move on to the next game then, John. All right. I'm going to bring it up quickly. We've got Port and Freo. Now, this one's a good one.
Is it up? Is the team up?
That's a bit, just calm your farm. Also, you can see who's winning right now. Brisbane 26 to Melbourne 12.
I've got multiple bets to cover myself.
Did you bet on it?
Yeah, of course. There's lots of bets.
Put plenty out in the realm.
So Port Adelaide, the full back line, you got Radicalier, Zerk Thatcher, Burton, centre half back line, Allaire, Houston, Jones, centre line. Ollie Wines is back in the side, Drew and Bergman on the wings. Half forward line, Marshall, Rosie and Burn-Jones. Full forward line, Charlie, Dixon, Rioli, Powell Pepper. In the rucks, Soldo, Horn-Francis, Butters. And then on the bench, Farrell, Burgoyne, McKenty, Georgiades. Mate, fucking hell, that is a deep...
It's an OP.
Holy shit. Do you want to do Freo?
Yeah.
Okay.
In goes Erasmus.
Mm-hmm.
Out goes Frederick.
It's not a great lot. That's not a great lot out.
Yeah, it's not.
You can play.
Their back line, you got H. Pearce, Draper, halfback Walker, Ryan, Clark, centre Brayshaw, Fife, Sharp, half forward line Walters, Emmett, and Swikowski. Switowski.
Mike Wiskowski.
Mike Wazowski, yeah. Before line, Tracy, Amiss, Taberner. Following, you got Jackson, Sarong, Young. On the bench, you got O'Meara, Erasmus, Hughes, Banfield, and Johnson.
This is an interesting one because Port are flying. Fremantle have surprised everyone when they won 3-0. When they went 3-0, but then they lost to Carlton. This is a danger game for a side like Fremantle who have started well early. They now go to Port. Their bubble's been burst. They now go to Port Adelaide, which we were thinking Adelaide was the hardest road trip. Port Adelaide looked almost unbeatable after quarter time. So you got two different contrasts. You got Port Adelaide who used the ball so well, which we saw firsthand. But Freo, we know, like to make it a real hard slog. How does Dixon Marshall go against Luke Ryan and Alex Pearce? Alex Pearce held Mackay. So Mackay, they just showed after the first 5 rounds is the number 1 forward in the league for, I don't know if it's Supercoach or whatever it is, or rankings, however they do it. Pearce held him goalless.
It's big.
Held him goalless. So he's gonna have the job on Dixon. Luke Ryan picked Carlton apart in that first half. So interesting to see. Tom Marshall can play and reads the play very well. So he's going to have to give a lot of respect to him. You've got Ollie Wines.
Big ins.
you
But
got
I was wondering
Wines
when
in.
Pal Pepper was coming back and Finlayson going out and opened that straight up.
And I know Finlayson kicked 3 or 4 in the second half, but they were sort of junk goals when the game was over. I don't mind. You know, Rioli did some things, but I mean, Connor Rosie could take a hold of this side again. But just look at that bench: Farrell, Burgoyne, McKenty, Georgiades. That was amazing to see him back after so long. No one thought he was coming back. Mead. They've just got these great ball users, and just a lot of depth.
Trent McKenzie's on their emergency list as well.
And then, you know, Lira Leary's been absolutely star-studded. Biggest problem for Freo for me is their firepower in terms of Amos, Tracy, Taberner. I would really be looking to isolate Radagalier because I know everyone calls him an athlete and blah, blah, blah. He can be out-bodied quite easily and he can get caught. If he gets a free run of it, he's going to mark it because he's just a big, powerful man. But he doesn't have a lot of footy IQ. If the way to Fremantle win, they've got to lower the eyes and make him accountable and actually hit their targets. Don't put it in the air for Aliir and Radagalier to pick it off because they are good interceptors. Make them accountable. Lower your eyes. Don't just bomb it long. I think Port are just going to be too strong at home. We're going to see how good Freo really are because these are the sort of games that no one expected them to start well. Their bubble's been burst. They can go into this game and just get flogged. And then okay, that's the Fremantle that we were talking about.
Used to, yeah.
And I hope we don't see that. I think Port, though, are going to be too strong, 4 or 5 goals.
After seeing last week's performance by Port, way too strong. With the current form and Ollie Wines coming back in, Horn Francis, even losing Boak, not a big loss. Finlayson, not a huge loss when you got Pal Pepper coming in.
You got Pal Pepper and Wines coming back in, so they're both both
happy. In-form teams, though. And the last time I rode off Freo, well, they came out and won 3 in a row. I think it's more how good Port are. Now Port, Richmond showed Richmond showed at times when they played them, and Melbourne did too. If you pressure them, just like anyone, and Freo have elite pressure. That first half against Carlton, I reckon they had 10 or 11 smothers. They were all over us, and they were unlucky not to win that game. You know, with a couple of decisions at the end. I think this is more about Port is too good, not that Fremantle are a bad team. It's a fascinating matchup. Well, it's interesting because Horn Francis and Wines aren't notoriously the best users by foot, so they are up for a scrap, and bringing back Wines in helps them from a contested ball use point. So I think, on comparison, Port are averaging just, I think, 53 tackles to Freo 65. So
it's a big difference, isn't
definitely. it? Definitely. But when you think about it, you do that to a team like Sydney, there's a huge difference because Sydney try and pick apart teams with their skill use. Port actually don't mind it. I mean, Rosie had 400 metres gain and he's a classy player, but at to half time, and it's not like he was just kicking the ball down forward. They've got the star power down forward to just take marks and kick goals off the
I wonder
ground.
who goes to him.
Rosie?
Do you put a tag on
mate, how do you tag that? There's so much talent in that squad. How the heck do you combat it? You have to play your own game. Yeah. You have to go, how use the pressure, keep pressuring them, keep tackling, make sure we get the ball down, get it forward.
Sarong needs to use his ball use by foot, get it in low to the forwards, don't bomb it on their heads. So
I think Pearce would, like you said, will do really, really well for them. He'll nullify one of their forwards.
I think he'll have no problem with Dixon. I'm fascinated to see if Luke Ryan goes to Todd Marshall because Luke Ryan in that first half did a real good job. Todd Marshall's a very intelligent footballer though, and has to be respected. But as I said, I don't think this is that Fremantle are a bad side. I think Port are just too good. It's
just going to be too good.
Which is not a disrespect thing. I think Port at their home deck, I think they're just going to be a bit too classy.
Yeah. How much you got them by?
4 goals.
All right. I'm going to go for a bit of a different one here. Freo by 2 goals.
Whoa.
I just think a bit of a smoky. I think a lot of people I've been caught out underestimating Freo.
Do you want to just copy my tips? 9. Just copy who I pick and you'll get it right.
No. What about if you get 6 this week and I get 9? Then do I say, do you want to copy my tip? Maybe
It
that
won't
then
happen.
Then I can have the right to say that. All right, that brings us to Geelong versus North Melbourne. This is going to be an absolute shellacking. Let me get the sides up, Johnny. What are you initial thoughts on this? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Who's winning?
For my bets, Geelong by 40 plus. But I did that with West Coast last week against Sydney and it fucked one of my bets up. Look, Geelong are going to be too strong. So full back line, DeConning, Sullivan, Stewart. Half back line, Henry, Holmes, Duncan. Centre line, Brun, Dempsey, Tui. Half forward line, Stangel, Myers, Close. Full forward line, Cameron, Hawkins, Henry. And then in the rucks, Stanley playing game 200. Parfit and Blickards. Extended bench, you got Atkins, Bowes, Clark, Guthrie, O'Connor, Kolodajny, Manor, and Shannon Neal playing his first game.
A lot of changes. So ins for North, you got Sellers, Hanson, Junior, Phillips, Archer, Drury. Out goes Zaha, injured, huge loss. Stevenson omitted.
It was a big loss.
Debut game for Sellers.
Yep.
And Tom Power with his 50th game. So backline, you've got Comben, Core, Dawson, half backline, Sheasel, McKercher, McDonald, Senna, Tucker, Davis Uniacke, and Scott. Half forward line, Dersma, Powell, Ford, full forward line, Curtis, Lucky, Fisher. Following, Cherry, Greenwood, Simpkin on the bench, Stevens, Wardlord, Sellers, Hanson Jr., Phillips, Archer, Drury, Shields. Now, what are they even going to need to do? Like, what are?
Well, North are getting worse. North
We
is
thought
so
they might have been all right.
North is so disappointing after, they had little good patches. They were against GWS. They weren't horrible. They really had, they had Fremantle on the ropes.
Now, you know what? They suck. They fucking suck,
they
dude. Their average
over it.
losing margin, I think, is over 50 now. No, they suck.
And where are they playing?
Fifth.
Where are they? Is it Geelong?
Yes,
Geelong?
it's in Geelong.
Oh, it's gonna be
dismantled.
cold and
you know what? Every time they've played the last 3 games, Geelong have beaten them by over 50 points. It is going to be a shellacking.
And it doesn't matter where they play.
It didn't matter.
Hawkins, Cameron. I mean, the only chance they've got is if Geelong
injure every player,
or Geelong just lazy, and that's not going to happen. There's just not like Larky going out. There's another bit of firepower. I'm not Larky, sorry, Zerha.
Zerha's huge loss.
There's the only thing I like of Sheasel and McKercher, youngsters. But Sheasel, okay, here's the difference between, I'm going to name some players here. Sheasel had 35 on the weekend. 15 were from kickouts. So he had 20 because they only just started counting kickouts.
Which I think is unfair.
Well,
Why is that allowed?
It distorts the stats. But you see Sheasel kicking him sideways, backwards, doing nothing. You see Graham Myers. He gets 19, 20 touches and 5 scorer in 5 minutes.
That's
two
good.
goal assists and kicks a goal himself. Who the fuck would you rather?
Myers.
I think this is going to be. I mean, we don't need to sit all day on this. This is going to get ugly, and it'll be another 50 points loss. What can North do? Because they were putting in the effort and still getting slaughtered. They were played a Brisbane side who had their tails between their legs, and they lost, by 70 points.
Keep talking. I'm just going to check my phone. It's paused. I think somebody's calling me.
What are you doing?
I'm just checking.
Oh,
The fuck?
I didn't know you could pause it.
Fucking died. This is on. What the fuck?
We're still paused. Let's see how we play this one. This has been a really good episode too, you dick. Like, this has been a really good episode. We've talked.
Dude, this just turned itself off. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced.
This is a really good episode.
My phone's like access.
It's all right. So you can pause it and come back to it. I didn't know you could do that.
No, we're still going.
Yeah, just put your phone on. It's all right. Give me a break. We don't have much to go.
I know it's on one. It's literally gone down to 1%.